They should not stand in the wisdom of man, but stand in the power of God. They should not stand in the wisdom of man, but stand in the power of God.
G'day. Today we're talking about Daniel. And Daniel was taken in exile to the nation of Babylon with the rest of the Israelites. And there is a real lesson we can learn from Daniel and his attitude while he was there. And Daniel lived under a succession of very, very powerful kings, and he served them in the role of an advisor. First there was Nebuchadnezzar, and that was followed by Belshazzar, and then there was Darius the Mede, and lastly Cyrus the Persian. And throughout his time, he served as an advisor, talking to and I guess giving God's wisdom to these people who were the most powerful people in the world. And how do you do that? Or how did Daniel do that? And we see here that he absolutely told the truth. He led with the truth at all times. It didn't matter about his position. His decisions were not political. He told the truth, and he served God in everything that he did. With Nebuchadnezzar, he refused to bow down to the gold statue that the king had set up. He told Nebuchadnezzar that he would become as a beast for 7 years, that he would eat grass like an ox. The next one, Belshazzar, he told him that the kingdom would be taken away from him because of his pride. In Daniel 5:22, he says, "You've lifted yourself up against God, and because of that, you will be removed from being a king." Under Darius, he was cast into the den of lions for disobeying a kingly decree over worship. And we see in this that Daniel did not count the cost. He didn't make decisions based on his own comfort or how people would be affected by what he said or how his words would be received. He knew the truth and he delivered the truth, and he was true to God in every respect. For over 80 years, he advised and cautioned and admonished these people. So what did they say about him? Many of these things would have been very difficult for them to hear. They were used to being catered to and looked after. How did they treat Daniel? In Daniel 2:48, it says, "The king, Nebuchadnezzar, made Daniel a great man. He gave him many gifts, and he made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon." And in Daniel 5:29, Belshazzar, the next king, clothed Daniel with scarlet and put a chain of gold about his neck and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler of the kingdom. So I guess remarkably, they respected Daniel enormously. And that is not why Daniel did it. I would say he didn't care about that. In fact, the day after Belshazzar paid him all these respects, Belshazzar was killed. He was removed from being the king just as Daniel said he would be. And Daniel saw God far above all this worldly power. In fact, Daniel understood a truth that is really the crux of what we're talking about, and that is God is greater than the world. In 1 John chapter 4, verse 4, God is greater than the world. And so in our approach to life and the things that we do and the speech that we use, we can be no respecter of persons. In fact, when you think about it, in 1 John chapter 1, verse 1, consider what we have in relation to the world. Here it says, "That which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our own eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life." The word of life is so much greater than the world. And in verse 3 it says, "That which we have seen and heard, we declare unto you, that you also may have fellowship with us. And truly, our fellowship is with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ." And the message here is, in no matter what we do, no matter what is going on, be true to yourself. And that's not your old self. Be true to the self that the Lord has made you. And I guess at times that self, that God self, has to be sought out. It has to be rediscovered. We are greater than what we know because the Lord has made us greater than what we know. So in this time and at any time, we seek out our God self. We be true, we be honest in every respect, and we serve God rather than man. Amen.
Wisdom of man.